Looks like it's just me.
It's you. It's just your show now.
Yeah.
6:03, right
Everybody,
on time.
nobody leave. We're joking.
Probably stay longer. No,
I
get off
think I could
topic.
figure out something to talk about.
We never get off topic. We know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I had to ask what the topic was. Yeah,
No,
Anderson, it's only me.
I'm
gonna sit around and talk shit about you.
He asked me what the topic was, so I had to go hurry and find one real quick. Where is everybody? Jared is down there with Casey Fair getting worked over.
Yeah, he's trying to learn how to be a cowboy.
Yeah, driving a backhoe.
Oh, he's okay. He's got him on heavy equipment, not horseback.
He's driving a backhoe, and he sends a video saying, my window's dirty, so he turned on the windshield wiper, but there was no front window in it. And the windshield wiper was just gone. I had lunch with Casey and Jared yesterday. So sit around and talk crap about everybody else. So
if there is Anderson, this guy or whichever direction he is up from me couldn't hit him.
I wouldn't. So what I have to do is I have to miss, and you let the guest shoot them. You can't be right on the money because then they'll get all butt hurt. Plus, I don't know if it was squirrel season, so I let him shoot them anyways. It didn't matter. We didn't get caught.
It was definitely squirrel season because I checked.
It's always squirrel season.
I know better than to trust you guys.
That is true. I know why I let you shoot.
You're the actual undercover, so
maybe you never know. I've been accused of worse. So say shit. So here we go. My mutt tree. Because I said shit that.
No, he's talking about not me talking shit about Evan Anderson.
Oh. The mutt treat another bear late. It's not a bear, it's a raccoon or a squirrel or a possum. North Carolina ain't got no good bears.
Nah. Heck, yeah, I talked to all the bears up here and they all left.
It's because you caught them in their hiding spot. And then they left.
I found one. I got buddies that's got trail cameras out and shoot.
When is
20
there
different locations?
He's been under a lot of covers. I've been over a lot of covers. I should have put the covers on.
Yeah.
When is your guys' bear season go?
December.
The one they just started.
December.
Oh, really?
It don't get cold here till January.
So do those? Oh, I was gonna say, so those bears don't really.
No, they don't den up. Nope. The only time they den up here is when the sows, start having babies. They'll den up for a month or two till them babies get big enough to walk around. But that's for the majority of it. They're year round.
That's how Arizona is. Everybody said they hibernate, whatever, but they don't. I've seen tracks. Well, we've talked about this before, but bears brumate, don't hibernate, and they don't actually sleep. They just kind of nap, and a lot of times they'll get hungry and get up and go eat and go back. But even when they're doing those cub counts, those bears are still kind of crazy because them bears will wake up a little. So
the closest I ever came to getting eat up by one was in February rabbit hunting in a grass field.
Yeah.
She had a nest built up on top of a little old hill. She had a little cub in there. Luckily, I was bigger than she was, a heck of a lot uglier. She ran off.
Benny is probably, Anderton said, where is Benny? Probably sitting and cooking somewhere. You never know where Benny is. I sent him a link. I sent Brett a link. I sent Jared a link. I sent Dustin a link. But who else I sent a link? Oh, I didn't send Cody King a link. Better send him a link or I'll be in trouble.
Just say retard. shows up.
Hey, you'll just come on either way. Invite a guest. Anybody else wants to jump on? Just gotta let me know. You have to sign a waiver to come on this show.
I tried to get Jared Fay talked into it, but he's too chicken.
I tried to get Brarely to jump on too. Same thing. These guys get scared, but once you get on, you just get on. There's Richard Fight. I heard it was 100 degrees down there.
He may have to go have a blood transfusion after the other night.
Which one? Oh, Jared, undercover Jared?
Mm-hmm.
The mosquitoes took a pint or two?
2 gallons. He was a little pale when we got back.
He thought they were hummingbirds.
No, he said they were as big as Apache helicopters.
Where were you guys at?
Here.
Were they just out?
It's so wet, they're just everywhere. And no lie, they're that big around. It's like a 16 gauge needle hitting you when they stab you.
Do they fog any of those or try to put shit in to eat that larvae?
They used to. Around the cities they will, towns they will.
What do they do? Chlorinate the puddles?
No, they have a fogger on the back of a truck. And then some places they'll crop dust them.
Yeah.
Late in the evenings.
Ugh, where am I going? Where am I going? God dang it. I wanted to ask you an ignorant question to Benny. There's a bunch of bear in the white wilderness by Rio Doso, and I saw some hounds cruising up and down the road by the cabin. You're trying to find out if it's open? Making so much money, you can't hang out with us. Talk about people making a ton of money.
Yeah, there he is right there.
There he is right there. Daddy Warbucks.
Where?
Can't even afford to save anymore.
I don't know, Casey. Your wife took that picture and just happened to send it to me, so I stole it. Yes, sir, but the thermocells do not work anymore. I buy 100% DEET and spray on the thermocells, and it actually helps a little, but not much.
What is it?
For the mosquitoes.
What'd you call it? Thermocell?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a little burner that takes a butane cartridge and it's got a little repellent pad that you slide on it, and it makes a fog. It used to work real good, but they've gotten used to it.
Can you pursue bear in New Mexico out of season?
Yeah, do you get caught?
Yeah, you can do anything. You can do anything you want to get caught.
Dustin, after that post you made the other day, I might hire your daughter out to, make pets out of some of mine.
Oh, man. I tell you what, we were up camping after we got done hunting for the day. Her and my youngest went over and probably spent 2 hours with them dogs, sitting and petting each one for a certain amount of time. Sitting in dirt and dog feed, everything else. She don't care.
What do they call that? Neurological, whatever, NRS.
Stimulation.
Yeah. Neurological stimulation, where you tickle their toes. I got 2 7-year-old girls. They get enough stimulation all day long. And I got 4-year-old grandkids that come over and hold them by their feet. And then I got a 2-year-old granddaughter that is going to put Jeremiah Johnson to shame when she gets older. She's a feral sucker. I mean, feral. It was dark the other night, and I was talking to her mom out in front, and she just disappeared out in the dark. Just disappeared. Out running with the puppies, walking through the dark. I don't know how she did it. Well, there you go. Lions open all year in New Mexico.
Yeah, year
2
round.
tags, too. And I don't understand how does New Mexico have an all-year lion hunt 2 tags, if I'm not mistaken. And we're worried about 1 tag, and we shut it down in the summer. And we're hotter in New Mexico, some of those areas.
Yeah.
Only dummies go out there in the summer, and, you know. The only thing
Present company included
is you can't hunt all night. But then you got Nevada, they have plenty of lions. It's the numbers are manipulated by whoever needs them manipulated.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any way to do a true count on lions in any state. You could, but it'd be a money spending adventure. Thermals, cameras, big grids, you know. So, a lot of your biologists, aren't they only got 100 of them collared, you know?
Yeah.
And they say there's thousands. So, is there 1,000 or is there 5,000?
Well, evidently ain't where I've been.
Yeah.
You guys go through there with a track on a stick.
I had a guy tell me that if there's 5,000 bears or 4,000 bears in this state, how come he sees 5 bear tracks to every 1 lion? And why wouldn't there be as many lion tracks as there are bears? That's a huge can of worms to open.
It is, but you look at the habits of bears versus lions.
You look at the habitat too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're in 2 different spectrums of they fill 2 different niches.
Yep.
Yeah, they're predatory, but bear's an omnivore. He's looking for the easiest meal he can come across.
Yeah, bears feed all the time, whereas lions, if they make a kill
once a week,
6 miles from the nearest road, they have 0 reason to go anywhere. A bear, they're eating and foraging all day long. They travel a lot more.
Well, a cat can't go into a trash can and eat either. It won't.
No.
Like a bear.
Yep.
Those are nice. Oh, what are you saying? A lion hunter can't have a nice stainless or aluminum box?
He's just seen yours.
Hey, mine's perfectly good bed frame and conveyor belt.
It works.
Mine's all out of bed frames.
And rebar.
But the one in my buggy is an aluminum one.
Did you do any good this weekend, Jared or Destin?
Yeah, we did all right. Got a couple caught. Had some good days of trailing. So wasn't a bad last weekend. It stayed pretty cool. The only thing that kind of sucked was the wind, but
the wind was ridiculous Friday. Saturday not so bad. And then Sunday wasn't so bad. It picked up a little bit in the afternoon. Sunday I was on a lake in a flat bottom. A little flat bottom John boat. So once the wind picks up, and I just have a trolling motor in it. So trolling motor's turned way to the right, and I'm trying to go way to the left. Little boats and wind blows them all over the lake. The only lucky thing is it's a private lake, so there's nobody on the lake usually at 5 a.m. And all those people that show up don't get there till 9, 10. We're done by then.
Yeah.
So now it's the coyote hunting rest of the summer. Time to break them off them lions and go to coyotes.
Exactly. I'll head up to Utah for a couple weeks in July and run some bears up there.
You just going up there to run some bears?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go up there. There's summer pursuits all of July.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll go up there for a couple weeks in July and run some bears and get some dogs tuned up and get ready to go for August.
Meekums run bear too?
Mm-hmm. Hunter does, not McLean.
So how do they separate their dogs a little bit, or?
Yeah, they each have their own dogs.
Well, no, I'm saying is, do they run different dogs on bears than they do lions, or they do both?
So McLean's dogs don't run bear. He won't hunt his dogs on bears. Hunters do both.
Gotcha. How's that transition back and forth?
It's not bad. I mean, my dogs transition fairly well. I mean, I can run bears for a couple weeks straight, find a lion, and go right to dirt trail on a lion. They get a little chargy coming out of the box. You know, they get used to
run past it.
Yeah, well, and they get so used to, you know, when I'm lion hunting, I'll let them out. We collar up, and then go for a walk or go for a ride. Or if we find a track, you know, I'll get them out and clean them out. But, you know, hunting bears, if you rig and it's a good one, you open those doors and send them. So they get a little chargy when it comes to coming out of the box and that. But for the most part, mine don't have a hard time settling right into it. They do pretty good.
They don't take long.
No, but I cold trail bears too. So there's, you know, I'm not afraid to sit down and watch them cold trail a bear track like they will a lion track.
Well, if you're trying to make money, that's the worst way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what mine do. Do mine cold trail. 30 will cold trail bears.
Is your success rate less on cold trail bears?
No, not really. It takes a lot longer. I mean, if you're just out to catch bears and train dogs, a lot of times it's easier to go look for a hotter track. But if you're actually after the big boars and you want to kill them and you find a boar track that's older, you got to cold trail and try and catch it. So, but I mean, I've heard a lot of guys say it's not worth your time, but I've had good luck doing it, you know.
Yeah. Man, I was with the guy who let his dogs cold trail. They'd go a few miles. You know what I mean? You're not just jumping a rig, which is the funnest way, best way, easiest way to catch a bear quick. But I've caught a lot of bears off cold trail. That guy would cold trail. And he'd let them go.
Yep.
He'd literally jump it 2, 3, 4 miles away.
Yep.
Yes, especially when they're feeding.
Yeah. Yeah, my dogs have pulled off of a couple lion tracks this spring and tried to run bears. So they will do that. But that just, you got to either be with them or you got to pay attention to how they're running and know what to do, you know.
Why do some guys brand their dogs' ears? I brand my dog's ribs.
I do ears. But
I can cut an ear off if it's a good dog and I want to keep it.
You can, but it's easier to see in someone's box when their head's hanging out driving past you.
That is fact. Just like branding a horse, man. Let you know whose dogs they are.
It is. Pretty much that's what it is. So
it is when you get stolen, and they do get stolen, and someone sees it in another state because they posted on Big Game Houndsman or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll bring mine back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if a guy's going to cut an ear off, that takes a special piece of shit to do that. But
takes a special piece of shit to steal a dog, too.
Yeah, if you're stealing a dog, it wouldn't surprise me.
They'll bring mine back, though, so I ain't got to worry about them stealing them.
Yeah, they just know where to take them.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll be like, this son of a gun eats too much and won't run shit.
No reason so your buddy doesn't chase some random dog down. Yeah, that's true too. How many dogs have you seen? But you know, your red ticks and blue ticks, or your black dogs, or your red bones. I mean, you see a dog, you're like, man, that sure looks like Steve's dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I think a lot of people are afraid to brand them, is what it is. Not that hard.
You do yours yourself, Dustin?
Yeah, I do.
You can't give a plot away for free, can you?
I got one I'd give away. Just don't like her kennel manners. Other than that, she's all right. She's stupid gritty, though.
I think dogs act different in the kennel than they do on the chain?
Oh, she pretty much goofy all the time, but she's, told undercover, I said, you better hope she don't ever get in on a bear on the ground. You're going to lose that dog.
Yeah, you'll either lose it or she'll learn real quick. Some of them learn fast, some of them never learn.
She ain't got that kind of brain in her. She's, keyed in.
He'll either lose that dog or the vet will make some money.
Yep.
She'll, if we run across a bad hog, she'll probably get some stitches or some staples. Or
and I've been real lucky with my dogs. We had one dog get swiped and cut, and it's amazing how razor sharp a bear claw is and how quick it will slice like a razor. It's crazy to me.
Well, you think about the power behind it too.
It is the power behind it.
I had one rip one of my dog's ear from the base of her head all the way to the tip.
Got a 3-year dog now.
No, it's all one piece. I sewed that sucker back together.
Yeah.
She never flinched. Just stood there and let me stitch her up.
Yep. Well, hopefully I've never had to go to the vet with duct tape guts hanging out, so.
I know guys that have. I never have. Usually it's, just bite marks on the ass or on the spine or the back hips for the most part. But I do have a dog. He's my dog, but a buddy had him that he broke ribs and punctured his diaphragm and stuff like that. And now his ribs, they kind of healed wrong. So they kind of, when he gets on the skinnier side, you can see where his ribs poke out on his side because they're healed wrong. But
there ain't no way to set that though. So
especially back where they're at, they're way back towards his
short ribs.
Yep. But he's one, the best bear dog I have. He's got scars everywhere.
You have to worry more about the bacterial infection and stuff off of that little stuff than you do.
I'm gonna tell you the best thing going that I have found, which I don't know about you guys, but down here you got to get it from the vet. It's that mastitis medicine.
Oh.
You take and just poke it down in those poke holes and just fill it up every day. You irrigate it, fill it up. But it's it's a real potent antibiotic.
I was hoping to get Jared on here tonight. I see Casey's around. He must have just made Jared keep working.
I hope he did. Good for him.
Yeah. Guy doesn't know if there's a windshield in there or not in the backhoe.
No. Somebody's got to get something out of it.
I hope he gets him to fix some of them roads he's got up there.
Because Jared's a walker. We're talking about horsepower and horseback, but you're a walker now.
I do a lot. I walk a lot right now. I want to change it, but it's not going to happen right at the moment. But yeah, for the most part, I walk all the time.
You hunt off mules with McLean and with Meekums, don't you?
Yep. Yeah, I've hunted off mules quite a bit. But yeah, right now where I don't have any mules or horses here, I've been doing it on foot.
Just think of the shape you're in.
Yeah, nice and round.
Round shape.
Oh, you don't know nice and round. Chris and I think nice and round.
I think there was, most days, like when I look, like if we're trailing and had a long day and end up catching or something, I usually put in between 5 and 10 miles a day when I'm out 3 to 4 times a week.
What? So you do a lot of side-by-side hunting too, have you?
Nope. I've never owned a side-by-side to hunt out of. I've hunted with a couple buddies out of them. It's a little more convenient than a truck. You can get around a lot better places and faster if you need to, but
they are convenient.
Depending on where
just
you're
as expensive as a truck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and when I was really getting into bear hunting, all my kids and my whole family went. So there was 6 of us.
Yeah.
So it was easier just to hunt out of my truck, and that's how I've done it for, hunting bears for the past 10 years. Lions, yeah. I mean, I had a Tacoma for a lot of years, and now I just hunt out of my Tundra. But when I'm not hunting on mules,
What's your favorite?
mules.
Yeah.
Yep. If I have my choice, I'd rather just unload dogs and go for a ride than cut roads and try and find a track and then stay with them. I mean, yeah, there's a difference between the two, I think, and it all depends on what you're after. Like if you're hunting for a client and you need a tom track, cutting roads is probably part of your better option.
Yeah.
Unless you know the country really well and know where they frequent and where they cross, and I'm still learning all of that as much as I can where I'm hunting now. Um, but the benefit of the mules is you get to be right with the dogs a lot more. Because like once my dogs hit a good night old lion track and they start pushing it, I can't keep up with them. I can follow where they've been, but I can't stay with them on foot. Whereas mules, you can definitely cover a lot more country and stay with them quite a bit. They'll still pull away from you on the mules, but the mules don't get tired like you do
Yeah.
when they're in shape. So when it when it comes to bears, like I've hunted bears off of mules too, and it's really not a lot different than the truck because you're just free casting, and once they hit a fresh bear track, they're gone. Same with the truck. You rig it, you find the track, and you send them, and they're gone. You know, very rare. You might get in where you can see some of the race or see where they cross a road, or if they're walking one, you get in and see it, stuff like that. But it's all just kind of the whatever experience you're after. If you like to watch the dogs methodically work and be able to stay with them a lot more, mules are an easier option than doing it on foot. On foot, you still get to walk with them as much as you can till they leave you, and then depending on where you're at, you got to decide whether you're going to go back to the truck and move it, or if you're just going to be 10 miles from your truck and it is what it is. I've done it
Embrace the
both ways.
suck.
Yeah, you
Embrace
either
the suck.
you embrace it and you go, or if they're headed to where there's another road closer, sometimes I'll hike back to my truck and move around and then hike back into them again and sit there and watch them. But I think
I've done
when
that
it
with my
comes,
mules. I've rode
yeah,
back to my truck, threw it in the trailer, and tried to get ahead of them.
yeah. So I mean, and it's all on what a guy's preference is, whether he's comfortable on a mule in some shit country or a horse, or if you're just more comfortable on your own feet and shuffling trucks, or you have a buddy that stays at the truck and you go with the dogs and he drives around and picks you up. Works can work both ways, just depends on what you're
Man,
after in your experience.
I've said this
And what
before.
your country allows.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's going to pick you up, you can walk a long ways. If you know you have to turn around and go back to your truck, you don't
You,
walk as long.
yeah, you start getting 2-3 miles out and you're thinking, how much farther am I going to go?
You're making that circle, coming back.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
with mules, I do a lot of walking there with my mule because, like I
yeah.
said before, I want my mule to be a little fresher going home than so I don't have to walk at home. But I think if you're walking with your dogs, you're going to be a better tracker.
Well, you
Period.
learn more.
Whether whether you're watching your dog's tracks or the bear's track, man,
You
it's
learn how
tough.
the dogs hunt.
It's tough to hunt bear off mule because bears go, they go. You
Yeah.
can do it.
I mean, you can. I mean, I've done it. I mean, they hit the track and go, and you just find the best way to go wherever they're going. You don't have to follow them track for track. Like you can't. I mean, you can follow their trail, but you're not going to be able to stay with them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, you can go in and dig up some of those bears that are in some of that roadless country too, instead of doing it on foot. I mean, really, the biggest benefit to mules versus foot is it's easier on you. And you can move a little faster through the country.
Yeah, you're not nearly about as give out unless you fall in cactus or something.
Yeah. Who's done that? But
I just step on it and get it all in my dang feet. So,
so yeah, it just depends on what and what's available to you. Not everybody has rode horses or mules their whole life, or has access to a place to keep them, or things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I do think going truck or side by side route can make your hunts more efficient on what you're turning out. Because I mean, let's be honest, you can go ride a 10-mile circle and not get a damn bark if it just wasn't in there that day. Whereas you can cut 60 miles of road in a morning and probably find something to trail. Possibly. I mean, depending on the road conditions and everything like that. Because if the road's hard packed 2 days after a rain, you're going to be hard pressed to find that track on the road.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're out riding, dogs will hit it and you won't drive over it. But it also depends on the dogs you have. If you're free casting, you got to have a good strike dog, and you got to have strike dogs that are trustworthy. And so you got to know how to read them dogs and know whether that dog's full of shit or whether it's actually on a lion or a bear, and go from there. Because there's been days I've followed my dogs a mile before I could actually find a track and figure out if we were going the right way or not. Knew it was a lion, but didn't know if I was going forwards or backwards. It all just depends on country.
How many times have you rode around a mountain and not seen a track or rigged the bear since your dog's in and caught something?
Oh, yeah.
Bear.
Yeah,
I've done it more with bear. I rig a mountain, nothing. I've seen guys rig a mountain and leave. And I'll go in and I'll send them up a canyon. Boom. Got a bear.
Well,
that bear has food right there. And he's just hanging out, taking a nap.
Yeah, and it all depends on the wind, too. If the wind's not blowing the right way to come down that canyon and bring that wind to your truck, if that bear's 300-400 yards off the road, if it's blowing towards him, you're never going to rig him. So, wind plays a huge difference in it.
Well, even if there's not any wind, there's still thermals blowing.
Yep.
Depends on the time of the day.
And you got to have the right dog. If it's not a track that crosses the road, you got to have the right rig dog that once it knows a direction, it's going to take itself until it finds that track. Some dogs will only go 50 to 100 yards and come back because they didn't smell it. Some dogs will go 500-600 yards trying to find it before they come back. And every dog's different on how far out they'll range and go looking for that wind rig versus one that's a track crossing the road. And that's a big thing that can help or hurt you.
I think most of your bear hunters do 100 miles an hour trying to find that hot one. Me, I'll get a little rig and send them in and see, and I'll send one dog in, right, and see. But when it comes to lions, I mean, how many times have you come across a track you thought was real fresh and them dogs didn't want to do nothing with it? Hurt your feelings times too. You're like, wait a minute, that sure looks good, but I think I just went fishing on a boat for 3 hours on a lake, didn't catch shit, but it was relaxing. I think when you're on your mule and you're just following your hounds, it's the same thing. It's just, what do they call it? It's therapeutic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's truly what I love about riding a mule and following dogs is really, that's what it is. It's just enjoyable for the most part. Therapeutic, just, yep. But, I mean, my dogs are that way to me for the most part all the time. That's what I do to get away from everything. I just get to be fortunate enough to do it a little more than some others.
Get away from society.
Yep.
Reality. Get away from reality.
I mean, I talk to, people will talk to me when I'm out hunting. I actually, when we were up at camp, we had just got back for the day and we had unloaded dogs, and we were sitting down deciding on when we wanted to start cleaning up camp to come home. And this old
Never.
couple, yeah, I know. This old couple with a ancient German Shepherd walks into camp, and they were nice. They're like, "Can we come into your camp?" We're like, "Yeah, you're fine." And they started asking, "What road is this?" They were lost as shit. They had left their camp, went over some hill. I mean, as the crow flies, straight shot from my camp to theirs was 2 miles, and they had done it in a long roundabout way, and they had no idea where they were. So they're like, "Would you guys be willing to give us a ride back to our camp?" I was like, "Yeah, where are you camped?" And they're like, "We don't exactly know." So they started explaining the roads and stuff to me, and I was like, "Oh, you're over here." Like we'll just go out and find the road and come back. And as we were driving, they were asking me questions about what we were doing. I was told them we were chasing lions and stuff like that. And they said, "Well, how many dogs did you have?" I said, "Well, we had about 18 in camp between me and a buddy." "Really?" They're like, "We didn't even hear any of them bark." I said, "No, they're all tired." But then I just started talking to them, and they're like, "So you how often do you do this?" And I told them, I said, "I probably spend more time with dogs than I do with people, because a lot of the time when I'm hunting during the week, I'm by myself, unless I pull a kid out of school or whatever."
Well, it's hard for you to have mules because, like me, if I go, I'd have to have 6 mules if everybody wanted to go.
That's me.
You know what I mean? It's
You
hard
got
just to have
14
one.
of them, don't you?
No, I do. But if you ever rode with somebody, especially your own kids, I don't. My dad put me on horses to break them. I was
Yep,
the dummy, and
I
I
was
just
that.
told the guy the other day. I said it's kind of funny that you have a helmet on that kid on a horse, because in the old days we didn't. Our dad didn't give us no helmets. You'd be called a pussy if you got on a
Yeah,
horse with a helmet. And my boys don't wear helmets, but it's tough to go when you have adults, people who know, like you had Jared, Kyle, whoever's with you on a mule. But even when you took Scott, you still had to kind of watch him.
oh, we did.
You
Yep.
know what I mean? So because people don't know how to ride mules, and even on a broke mule or horse, they're nervous as shit. And
Yep.
it's the handler, it's the driver that might put them in a wreck, not the horse or mule. So it's
Yeah.
tough. Now, when I'm by myself with my dogs, oh man, it's bliss. You die and go to heaven because I'm not worried about nothing. And, you're just watching your dogs. But when you got kids with you, it makes it really tough. Even when you're hiking,
Oh yeah.
when you're by yourself, you can do 100 miles an hour. You can fall down. You can do whatever you want. But when you got your kids with you, it's really tough.
It is, especially my younger kid. My 2 oldest girls, I don't worry about them. They'll go
Yeah.
wherever I go.
Well, if you have a heart attack, they know how to get back to the truck.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But I've told my daughters, I said, if I go down out here, leave me. I was meant to die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to die in some nursing home. I'd rather die out there with my dogs. But
You keep
but
picking
it is.
picking on your daughter, she's gonna roll you off a cliff.
You ain't a kid. It's a good thing she's a little shorter than me. I still got some time before she can whoop my butt. But
So, I love running mules. I wish I had a side by side because I've been in side by sides. I've drove and they're so convenient. But damn,
they are.
man, I don't want to spend 15 grand for a
15's
go-kart.
cheap.
No, that's a used one. I'm talking used one, man. I looked at one. We did a roof on a ride now, and I was looking at one $51,000.
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah.
Because it had electric windows, AC. I'm like,
Oh yeah. You'll spend as much
Tacoma for that.
Yep, you will. And the hard part is those side by sides. If you're using it like I use a truck, you're gonna get 10,000 miles out of it.
Yeah.
And then you're done. You're gonna have to trade it in and get a new one, or you're just gonna keep sinking money into it. But
Listen, if you can afford
I'm
a
prime example of
$51,000
that.
side by side, you could probably afford another one.
Oh yeah. But I mean,
I'm looking for a
prime example.
$1,100 used one that I have to replace the motor in, maybe.
yeah. I mean, they're convenient though, especially when it comes to hunting bears. I have buddies that do it, and you can go down certain roads and you can get there a lot faster and cut off dogs if you need to, or if you're clear back down a 4-mile shit dirt road in your truck and you have a dog headed for a road, sometimes you ain't gonna get there. Whereas in a side by side, you probably will.
Yeah.
But
you definitely get there a lot faster.
Unless you follow Chris or Casey.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go down roads, it was meant for mules.
Oh, that's what I do. That's why I have busted struts and all that shit.
Yeah. Look at my passenger side of my truck. Looks like I rolled it off a canyon.
That's usually how it goes. The driver's side always stays good. It's the passenger side that gets the shit beat out of it. That's how my truck that I blew up is. There's dents in the doors and all sorts of stuff. But
someone put a fence in my way. I had to go around it. There was a tree there, and then it was nighttime, and I was coming out of a canyon and went on a road, but the road kind of followed a boulder up, and then my truck fell off the boulder and crushed my door. Yeah.
The first time I carried undercover out on my buggy, he's like, now I see why you're always working on them.
Yep. Well, I'm trying to remember his name. So there's a guy, he watches the show, and maybe if he's on here, he can pipe up. But he was out here visiting his daughter and son-in-law he's from Michigan. He come out and he messaged me while he was here, wondering if I was going to be hunting. And this has been a couple months ago. It was like a month after I got this truck. We went out, we were trailing, and I went to turn down a road and didn't see a big rock. Lifted my truck up on it and went over it and smashed right behind the front driver's tire. Like, bent the door out, bent the fender. This truck, I've had it for a month. Like, well, it is what it is. We put some other rocks to drive onto it and rolled the rock out of the way, and away we went. But we trailed the lion all day that day. It was a good day, but yeah. So
that's what I did on my passenger side. I took a guy bear hunting, and I just got my truck 2 weeks. It was my second Tundra. And I'm going through the side-by-side trail, and he said, how old is this truck? I said, well, I got it 2 weeks ago, 2019. And he said, I've never seen someone take a truck this new in the places like this. I said, if I wanted something I want to keep in my shop, I'd have bought me a Hellcat and put it in my shop and drove it every once in a while. But I'm going to get the money's worth out of my truck, and I do. But you can't pull a squeeze of hay up the mountain with the side-by-side.
No, that's the hard part.
You can't pull that travel trailer you got up with the side-by-side.
No.
So, but
that's all I use my truck for, is hauling my side-by-side.
Yeah.
And the dogs.
Well, hell, I used my Cummins to haul my 1980 Toyota around. I throw the dogs. I had a dog box for my Cummins, but if I had it off, I just throw them in my dog box on my little Toyota, and I drag that little Toyota all over the place. So, but that little Toyota don't have the suspension as a side-by-side does.
They're both rough.
Yep, and I've even redone the springs. Now, if I could afford to put some off-road suspension on it, it'd probably be okay. But god dang, those 1980 Toyotas are small.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't fit two full-grown men hardly in the front of them. So, and they ride rough.
It's just like a side-by-side. You put two grown men, you're touching shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on which one you get, for sure. And that's me.
Unless you're Dustin and Jared, then y'all fit in there pretty comfortably. me and Chris are gonna be elbow to elbow.
So, it's the same with the side-by-sides, though. In order for you to take your whole family, you have to have a 6-seater.
And that's what,
That's why I got two.
I have to.
Or you have two of them. You know.
Yeah.
We carried 2 out the other night because it's so daggum hot. Just keep the dogs from overheating.
That humidity, man. I was in Texas. It wasn't that bad, but it was bad for me. I could feel it.
It was 80 degrees, and it was like you were in high altitude. It was so thick.
Yeah. So that
Are you going to
fun.
that, Dustin?
What?
The horse, hound, and mule sale?
I'm not sure. It depends on when I decide to be up in Utah to hunt bears.
Yeah, we have hound trials that weekend.
Mm.
Plus, hound trials only cost me a couple $100 to go to. That mule sale is going to cost me about $600 because my wife's going to want a hotel and go with me.
Yeah, I just talk her into tent camping like everybody else.
Well, I was trying to talk her into a motorcycle last time, and we were going to ride the bike up there, but man, it rained up there last time. She'd have been mad, sucker.
It might cost you more than that, Chris. You get up there and end up buying something.
I got enough mules. I should take some up there and sell them. What I should do, but
yeah,
I haven't seen nothing on that.
They're posting on Instagram. They are. They just posted the first. They just posted the first dog, that's up for sale. It's Ross Blackwell, their 2-year-old, I think.
Yeah.
So they just posted some videos talking about him. But yeah, they have been posting some videos lately, starting to talk about it.
Okay. Someone asked me about it the other day, and I haven't seen it. I'm not on Instagram a whole lot, though. But
yeah, I just don't have a use for the horsepower part of it. I can't see the justification of keeping one for 2 months out of the year.
Well, these days you have to have insurance on your side by side and registered now. So
yeah,
probably still, I don't know. It costs me, I go through a bell a day, but I have 9 animals to feed.
Yeah, and you're talking nowadays a bale of hay, you're anywhere from 14 to 20.
Yeah, well, it's $20 plus if you're buying it by the bell. We buy it by the squeeze, the truckload, or whatever. So, hey, where's that sell at? What is the name of that place? By Durango.
It's at the Tucson Ranch in Hesperus, Colorado, which is close to Durango.
There you go, Richard. You ain't got nothing to do.
Yep. Yeah, it's called the Tucson Ranch, and it's actually a pretty sweet setup where they have it out there now.
This is what I like about people who still read the paper. Richard's not exactly an email kind of person, so he'll cut stuff out and send it to me.
Nice.
So then I hang them on my wall. Thank you, Richard. Kind of cool, though. And then Otis Llewellyn texts me and says, hey, I haven't got my holster for my 300. And I said, well, shoot, I think I know who did those. It was the Whitakers. I said, well, let me call around. And so I had my old phone number. I didn't put the Whitakers on it. I just put my old phone number that got kind of hijacked from me in my off my AWDA phone. So I called Josh and I said, hey, man, you remember last year? And he goes, man, I forgot all about that. I said, I think Otis did too. I think he just found his gift certificate and said, oh, crap, I won something. So, Josh said, let me get a strap on it and I'll send it out.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. So I said, well, if you want to make anything else and send it over, let me know. So, yep. So we got Otis Llewellyn taken care of.
Nice.
And Otis donated a breeding, and Robert Chase, of course, won it. And I think he's going to pick him up on that. So
nice.
Yep.
Otis runs in Blue Dogs anyway.
Yeah. Can't hold things against people sometimes.
Oh, heck.
I like it.
I make fun of a lot of different colors, but if a dog will hunt, I like it. So
Dustin runs a lot of them black dogs.
yeah, I got a whole kennel full.
Half the year anyway.
They just live in Tucson most of the year.
So last week we did the raffle, and we drew. Dang it, what's his name?
Kenneth Cardelli.
Yeah, Kenneth Cardelli, and I started looking at my paperwork. I'm like, oh man, he just bought a membership, but I put him on the raffle list. I'm like, man, I swear I see he bought a family membership. It was $100. I'm like, man, I swear I seen $50 that he bought a raffle ticket, and he only bought one. And he, so I looked it up. I even texted Dustin that night and said, hey man, I think we might have to redraw. And I was all planning for a redraw. And then I finally, in an email that got missed, found where he did buy a ticket. So I called him and I said, hey, you won that, the raffle. And he said, well, just take that $1,000 and donate it back. And it's all I want is mentorship. So I was a good mentor too. I said, what do you got? He said, puppies. I said, are you stupid? You got 4 puppies. He has 2 now and 2 coming. I said, what are you, dumb? Don't do it. But he's been pretty cool. I don't know if you've talked to him since then, but
I have.
Yeah.
Him and I have been texting. So
yeah.
Where's he
So
from?
anytime he has a question, he asked me. I said, here, this is what I think. But he wants to. I told him, hey, Dustin's pretty close because I already called you. You said send him up, and I said Dustin's closer than me, but you're more than welcome to come up anytime, and I'll show you probably what not to do. So.
He lives in, I think, Wickenburg area, Jeremy. So he's
right down in Phoenix. It's right outside of Phoenix.
Yeah, so he's like, I think for him to get to me over the mountains, a little over an hour, maybe a little more than that.
A couple hours traffic. 4 hours to me.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, from Wickenburg, he can
Hell,
come
it's
up
better
and
than
come
my
over the top.
distance.
Yeah. I just put in for a cop job over here. It'll be good.
Don't tempt me.
Strollo's hiring always. You can work with Cody Lynn.
No, I got too many years in to uproot.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
No, Chris can't.
There we go. There's Anderson. About to be blocked. About to be banned from the show.
I think him and Bone Pile are brothers.
There's Jared putting his 2 cents in.
Yeah, whatever Ken does, don't get with Jared Fisher.
Yeah, we're gonna stick him with Jared Fisher.
I survived Jared Fisher.
Yeah.
Just hope Casey does.
No kidding.
Dustin's a survivor also.
Well, so Casey calls me yesterday morning and says, hey, or he calls me and says, hey, have you seen Jared? Man, last time I talked to him, I swear he was either headed to Kyle's to get his stuff and go to your house, or he was on your way to your house. And he says, well, he ghosted me. Now I'm starting to feel like piece shit for introducing anybody to any, I'm like, no, don't sound like Jared. I said, he just texted me this morning. I don't know why he ghosted me. He had me going for a second. I'm like, well, maybe he broke down. Maybe something happened. I was actually starting to worry about the little feller. And I said, and he goes, nah, that mean son of a bitch is sitting right here next to me. So went and had breakfast with him yesterday. The only nice part of that was Diane came, so I didn't have to look at Casey or Jared the whole time. Someday I'll be like Jared. Hey, visit all the gay bars you can find, and you'll be right up his alley.
Dadgum.
That's what I told him. I said, if you can't find him, so all you got to do is start hitting the gay bars. He'll turn up.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I probably had a Brokeback Mountain movie. Yep. You think you'd lose a lot going away from the old ways, walking, and you think these guys that are like growing up with the side by sides are losing a little bit of the old traits of tracking and listening. And I mean, it goes back to modern versus old, right? We was talking about last week the
You get
the
lazy.
and
But
it,
and
it makes
that's
them lazy.
well, and it's individualistic there because there's some guys that they'll turn them dogs loose even on a dirt track. They'll walk them 100 yards and then just let them go, and either they'll go sit in their side by side or they're going to go with them. So I think it depends on the person. Because me, I'm going to go with them as long as I can keep up. I'm going with them. I'm watching dogs. That's what I like to do.
Do you
Other
watch them a
guys,
little bit though? Do you watch them a little bit just to kind of see what they're gonna do, or do you just once they take a track and you know it's the right track, you kind of say, "Well, let's just go."
no. I mean, on a lion, I go with them.
Yeah.
Unless they're moving country quick enough that I can't stay with them, then I start to weigh my options. But if I can keep up with them, I'm going on a lion. A bear, I know I can't unless we're cold trailing, and then I'll walk with them.
That's
Still,
where I was going next. A bear, you watch them for a little and see what they're gonna do because sometimes that bear will treat 100 yards and sometimes that bear treat 100 miles.
oh yeah. I mean, like if it's a good rig and I send a dog and they start trailing, I don't even try and go with them because I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But if I find a track that they don't rig and I drop a dog down and they can hit on it, I'll walk with them.
But how many
For
roads you got where you hunt right now?
quite a
Is there a
bit.
lot of roads? Because where I hunt, there's a lot of roads.
Yep, and that's where it's hard. Every country's different,
Mm-hmm.
But and that's where you got to learn your country. If there's 3 miles in between you and the next road, I'm gonna go with my dogs. But if there's a half mile, I'm gonna go see where they cross and make sure they're still true, and then go from there. You just have to judge it. But I do think a lot of people do get lazy and won't go put boots on the ground with their dogs, and that's a thing that is killing whether it's a younger generation or just newer people coming into hounds, no matter how old they are. If you don't go spend time with your dogs on the ground when they're working these tougher tracks, you're all you can see on your GPS is that these dogs are barking. You're not seeing which dog is picking up the loose. You're not seeing which dog is sitting here booger barking at the rest of them. It putting time with them on those harder tracks when you have the opportunity will really kind of tell you what dog's doing what. And I think that's the benefit of horsepower versus, you know, trucks and side by sides, mule power, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Or foot power. I spend a lot of time walking with my dogs while they're trailing, so I get to learn each and every dog, what they do, what if this dog can smell it, we're getting close. If this dog is chiming, if this dog's the only one that's really grinding, we're a long ways behind it. You know what I mean? So that's how you get to learn your dogs, how you read dogs, and how you get to really have that intimate relationship with all them dogs and know what they're capable of and what they're doing and who's contributing, who's not. You know, that's a big thing that some guys don't know. When you dump, and nothing against snow hunting because I do both. If there's snow, I'm gonna run. I don't care. I'm hunting. But when you dump 6 dogs on a fresh lion track in the snow, you're never gonna stay with them. So they
No,
burn
but
down.
you can always track them. That's the
You
great
can.
thing about snow is you will never lose those dogs.
No, you can track them, but you're not going to know. I mean, they're just going to burn down it, and your GPS can only tell you so much on certain things like that. Whereas, if you find a day old or a 2 day old snow track and you watch them grind it and work it, that's kind of the same thing as a dirt track. You're going to figure out what dogs are working, what dogs are just hanging out, and
I
going
think
from there.
I think free casting is the best way to do that without looking for something to hunt or kill. To take them out and watch them start the track. Right.
Oh,
Watch them.
you'll figure out who the strike dogs are. You'll figure out who the dogs are just running around with their heads up, and tell someone find something, and then they're like, oh, now it's game on. Then they might come chime in. And same with, it's not all about lions. I mean, bears too. You run bears and you get on some of the big mean bears, you're going to figure out what dogs are going to stick, what dogs are going to, like I'm running a dog for a buddy right now. And if you get, I had him last fall, and if you get on a bear that's on the ground, the minute he sees it on the ground, he quits. He's a tattletale. You know exactly when they're walking a bear. But if it trees, that dog's money. He'll be out front all day long. So it's just that, but that's how you know is you got to spend time, you got to hunt them. I mean, the hardest part, I think, for anybody is being able to spend the amount of time with them dogs that's necessary.
So what skills do you think are being lost from, we'll say, mechanical to elbow grease? Like the newer generation comes up, he's got a side-by-side, he's buying dogs, he has a GPS. What skills are being lost from someone that runs and free cast or gets on a mule and follow?
That's a hard one.
Tracking, of course, right?
I still think it's individualistic, because if they're not going to get out of their side-by-side and go spend time with them dogs, they're missing a whole big part of it.
How to read a dog, how to track their dog, how to track the game.
Yeah.
From my experience, the dogs hunt different the way you hunt. Like, say, I walk part of the year and I hunt off side-by-side the rest of the year. They know what we're doing. They'll run right in front of that buggy, and then they'll free cast on their own.
Yep.
Or, if I'm hunting off foot, I mean, they leave my feet and they go hunting, and you sometimes keep up with them. Sometimes you can't, just depends on the terrain. But, I try to hunt close to my dogs so I can see what they're doing.
We're talking about the handler right now, but what does that do to the dogs? Because I kind of get what Jeremy's talking about. My dogs, when I drive, they're back and forth on the road. But once I get out and walk out 50 yards, they go out. If I tell them, go find them, go out, they'll go out. And they'll hunt and hunt. And they can be out an hour, and I start my truck, and they'll come back to the road and hunt.
Yeah. And that's all just a learned thing of how everybody hunts different. You know what I mean? Like I have never let dogs out and drove down a road and let them hunt, if that makes sense. Never done that ever. I've always just either cut tracks or I go free cast off the road. I've never roaded them to hunt, if that makes sense. If I rode them, I'm just getting them exercise, and I'm running them 8 to 10 miles.
Well, see, that's basically what I'm doing is exercising for the most part, but I'm still hunting. Because, that's the difference between coon hunting and bear and lion hunting. You're not hunting for a track.
Yep.
The dogs are going to pick that track up on their own. When you're looking for a bunch of coons, in one little block of woods versus, a 1,000,000-acre block.
Yeah.
Of the national forest,
But you also know the areas where you can road them through. Like I have a few certain roads that drop down in some canyons that I'll let the dogs out. And those dogs have caught. Here's another thing too. Those dogs remember where they catch a bear. I know they do because I've roaded them through that canyon. They'll go right or up or down that canyon where they caught that bear, and they'll sniff around.
Well, see, that's like when I'm
in one spot. I've caught a bear. I caught 3 bear in one tree, separate times of the year.
Yep.
That's like when I was out in y'all's country.
Yeah.
I didn't road my dogs unless there was a long straightaway I could see a long way. Because you didn't know.
Especially when you live out of state.
Right. Well, first off, you don't know if there's another car coming or what.
Yep. I run into too many side-by-sides.
Chris was ahead of me. We didn't run into anybody till after you left, and then you'd see the vehicles coming in and out, and that one, father and son we ran into and talked to.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wasn't really worried about people so much, but like down at Jared's, and there's folks everywhere.
Yeah. There is.
Now, I roaded them when we got back to the buggy. I roaded them back to Jared's truck. Of course, I had to go back and get a couple of them because they decided they wanted to go their own way. But I was just a little more leery than I am here.
Well,
I'm roading them on private property where there is nobody here. So.
Well, and that just comes into knowing the country you're in, knowing where, like Chris said, certain things cross and certain don't, and you never know. But I don't think that the changes of, I mean, technology has made it so it can be easier, but I also think it's just the person. If the person wants to be a lazy hunter, they're going to be a lazy hunter. If a guy wants to get in and learn the knowledge and put boots on the ground and spend time with his dogs, he's going to do it. And that's going to be, the difference is sometimes those guys that just want to be lazy, they're going to kill a few and then they're going to get out of it, maybe. Whereas the guys that are truly in it for the dogs and love the dogs and love everything about it, they're going to go put, like, even running a snow track or a bear track, like if dogs go in and they make a big lose and they can't figure it out, I'm going in. I'm going to get as close as I can and I'm going in. I'm not going to tone them off of this track because they made a lose and they can't figure it out and it's the dog's fault. No.
What happens when you go in, though? What do those dogs do when they see you come in?
They go back to hunting and they start doing circles with me. I walk circles until we find me out.
It's like a reassurance. Like you have that relationship with them.
Yeah.
That when they see you, they're like, shit, Dad's here. Come on, guys, we got to find this thing.
Yeah.
Well, they get a little bit more serious when you're right there with them than they are just on their own.
Some
they know
dogs
what you're going. They know what you're going to let them get away with.
Yep.
That's like Casey said. He didn't like the way some of my dogs come back to me.
Yep.
Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to make a big circle, and if they don't find something to run, they're coming back.
I personally like when my dogs come back. I like when they go out, not 800 yards, do these big circles, and they come back and let me know because it makes me feel better, right? They're still here. They come back to me, and they don't come back to me. They come back kind of, I've seen them come 100 yards, look at me, and then take off again. But when I'm on foot or on mule, I really like that. No, I'm in the truck. They don't come back to my truck when they get out.
Yeah.
I have to tone them back if I want them back.
Yeah. And like I said, everybody hunts different. And that's what's hard is everybody expects different things out of their dogs, how you want them to hunt. I mean, you could probably come take my pack of dogs and go hunt, and you would be like, no, I'm done.
But they only come back to me when they're not finding something. They're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they get on something, I'm a piece of shit to them. They're to me, if they find something, they're like, you better keep up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's
the way mine are. That's and to answer Wayne's question, that's what I set out to hunt. My dogs are trashy, and that's not what I end up hunting a lot of times. I may tree bears, I may tree hogs or bay hogs.
Yeah.
Most of them are broke off a deer.
Yeah. So
they're definitely broke off a deer because we ran across 100 of them that day.
Yeah, we only got one bark that day.
Yeah.
Cows, not so much.
I think for your subject, mule power, foot power versus actual engine power, a person can choose to be as lazy as they want to be and not learn the skills. I think back in the day you had to have those skills just because it was a little different. But I think it's all individualistic, whether they're going to be a lazy hunter or whether they're all in with their dogs. When I first got dogs and learned a little bit about it, I made a promise to myself that if those dogs are going to go, I'm going to go. If they're treating a shithole 2-3 miles from the truck, I'm going. I will make it.
there's those days where you're like, you still want to go out, but you're lazy. You know what I mean? You're like, man, I hope they don't get something that's going to take me 12 miles. Let's just, you're lazy. So you will sit back and you will, but because you went with your dogs all those times, you're standing there watching that number 3 dog chirps when he thinks he smells something. So when you're sitting back half a mile and you're hearing that, you already know what it is. But that's from you spending time on the ground, boots on the ground with those dogs.
That's what it takes. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground.
When I say, what skills do you lose? And it's probably not what skills do you lose. So when you come into something, if your dad drives Chevys, you're more likely going to drive a Chevy, right? So if your mentor hunting out of your out of his little side-by-side, and that's how you learn to hunt, and he just sits there and watches and says, they're not treed, let's call them back or whatever. That's how you're going to learn until you get with somebody. That's why I told the guy who traded for mentorship, I said, it's good to hunt with everybody.
Yeah.
Learn something new from everybody.
Take a little bit from everybody. I have never even told this story 100 times. The tractor gets stuck up under the overpass. There's 10 engineers standing there. The 9-year-old son of an engineer comes out and says, what are you doing? We're trying to get this out from under the overpass. And he says, why don't you let the air out of the tires?
Oh, yeah.
A 9-year-old kid. So you take a new guy that's never been hound hunting, and he asks you why you do that. Well, I do it because of this. And he says, well, would it do it this way? I'll be like, God dang, man, you're right. I will take that into consideration and say, because I think we get so engaged in trying to be a houndsman that we don't step back and look at the Dummies for Houndsman 101 book.
Well, and that's why it's and it's good to, and yeah, it's hard, like the mentorship thing, but it's good to have buddies that you trust to call and bounce ideas off of, like Jared and I talk quite a bit. I talk with Hunter, quite a bit, and I'll ask him, hey, what do you think about this? Or, they'll ask a question here or there, and just, you can never stop learning, no matter how long you've been in it. You never stop learning, because you'll have situations that you're like, what the hell was that? And somebody else might have ran into it and has a better insight. But like I say, I think it all just comes down on whether someone wants to be lazy or not, and what they're truly in it for. If you're in it to just kill something quick and fast, that's different than in it to make dogs. That's why I'm in it, is I love taking a dog and making a dog.
And another thing you got to realize too is, just because Dustin or Chris or I say it don't mean it's right. It's just the way we learned it.
No,
it's a different way of going around and getting the job done at the end of it.
Yep. Just because what I say works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you and your type of dog. Your dogs hunt different than mine. My dog,
it's like a hound versus a cur. It's totally different creatures.
Yeah, and if you send a cur here, I'm not going to know what the hell to do with it. Never been around it. Literally, never hunted with a cur. Never been around them. Never dealt with them. You
want to catch plenty of monkeys and get rid of them? Get you a cur.
Oh, man. Nope. But I don't know. It's so individualistic that, do I think technology has made houndsmen more efficient in certain ways? Yes. But has it also
made us lazy?
Yeah, it can make you lazy if you let it. Because the way I hunt lions in the dirt versus the way I hunt bears is a whole different world. When I'm running bears, especially off hot rigs, you're going to find me sitting in my ass on my truck. I'm watching that Alpha XL or that drive track, seeing what dog's doing what, and I'll be seeing them burn, and all of a sudden they all slow down. Okay? Now, from experience and learning, I start to watch when they slow down. And then when they slow down, if they start getting spread out, I know I messed up and I went backwards, because this dog is my cold trailer. It's in the lead. The young dogs are falling behind. They're not smelling it. Or if they're all going slow, bunched up together, barking here or there, or hammering, barking while they're doing it, going in and out of tree, I know I'm walking a bear. So that's the difference is knowing your dogs and knowing the game that they're on. But yeah, I mean, the way I hunt bears is very, very different than the way I hunt lions, especially in the dirt. In the dirt, I'm going with them until I can't stay with them. On bears, I know I have a snowball's chance in hell of trying to keep up with them dogs while they're burning a fresh bear down. They'll be 2 miles away, and I'll be a quarter mile from the truck going, shit, I shouldn't have done this. Because now I'm going to have to go back out and come around because they might be walking it and they're going to cross a road, and I need to feed some more in to get this thing to climb or stuff like that. It all just depends. And
you know what's crazy? It's total opposite here. I mean, we can put a bear up a tree in 15 feet, but a coon will run 2 miles.
Yeah, no, I mean, very rarely, I don't get pop-up bears very rarely unless it's a sow and cubs, or the dogs don't rig the track, they rig the actual bear. That happens. We had that happen last fall where the dogs rigged. It was like 11:30 in the afternoon, and the whole truck exploded. And I was like, that's a good one. Let's send them. Dogs go out, 200 yards, pop-up treed. They didn't rig the track. They rigged the bear and caught him like that, and he popped up.
Well, here's a little. It's not really a skill you lose, but so if you're sitting in your side-by-side and your dogs are running and you've seen that lion track on the ground and you hunt bears and lions, you never know when that bear is going to run across the road, or they hit a hotter bear track, or they take another track. So you have to go off of what you've seen last, right? Hey, I put them down on a lion, but when you are out there with them and you are, even if you're a mile behind them and you see that track change from lion to bear, you're saving you a little time if you don't want to catch a bear because you could tone them off.
Hunting my dogs, were you?
Yeah. Well, I've had that happen 3 times this spring. I found a lion track in the road, good night old track. Dogs are cold trailing it, and it's in an area where there's a decent amount of road, so I'll stay with them. But if they're headed to country where I can move my truck, I'll move my truck, and we'll keep going. And next thing I know, they're coming to a road, and I get to where they're coming, bear track going backwards. Somewhere we switched, and that's where you got to decide how dedicated you are if you're going to go back in and try and figure out where they switched and try and catch that lion. Or are you just going to go try and find something different? It just depends. But I have had, that's the hard part about having dogs that run 2 types of game, especially this time of year, when we're not allowed to run bears here in Arizona, we're running lions, but the bears are out and moving.
Well, and right now you have to change the coyotes.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you always could.
You don't want them chasing bears and lions now.
Yeah, but like I say, and that's the risk you take when you hunt dogs on multiple game instead of one. Because Jared can come out and hunt the same line that I just did, and more than likely, his dogs aren't going to pull off and cold trail a bear backwards. They're going to keep pushing through where that bear and lion crossed. They're going to find the lion and keep going.
Oh, no. Most likely. Jared's down there trying to chase bears right now. Just talk to him. Ask Casey. He's beating him up, finding all these bear tracks.
Oh, yeah. It pisses him off when he can see 6 bear tracks and only 1 lion.
Yeah. 3 times in this last week, I've had someone ask me about, what do you think about running both? I said, you can run both. Personally, in the last 30 years, I've always wanted to have 1 pack for lions and 1 pack for bears, but it just never, I just can't let my dog sit during bear season or during lion season. Like, it's tough. And when you only have 3 months to hunt bear, you know what I mean? It's tough for me to just sit there.
Yep. And some dogs do well on both. One's better than the other on certain things, and that's all just knowing your dogs. But ever since I've got into it, I've always ran bears and lions. And the reason I do it is because I want to hunt as much as I can. So if a bear season's open, I'm hunting bears. If a lion season's open, I'm hunting lions. If they're both open,
Yeah.
unless I have a client, I'm running whatever I find.
But even then, they're both over the counter. So
yeah.
buy tag, buddy.
Well, and that's how, like when I was in Utah, the lion season a lot of times would shut down right before the bear season would open. So that's why I ran both, is because I wanted to keep hunting. Because when I first started hunting in Utah, lion season was like November to like April. That was it. And then bears were open April and March, and then I could hunt in July, and then I could hunt some more in the fall. So I'm not going to let dogs sit for 6 months out of the year. I can't do it. I'm going to hunt what I can.
Do you think, before I ask this next question, do you think if you had here's what I think. It'd be nice to have 1 or 2 just bear dogs, 1 or 2 just good lion dogs, nothing else. And then the rest of your dogs are your mutt rat, like they're packed.
Yeah,
right?
they do both.
Do you think if you're running a bear, you have all your dogs with you, also you're not going to be running your lion dog, but you say you were just running everything. Do you think those lion dogs would start trailing those bear because the other dogs would, or do you think you could?
Eventually, yeah. I mean, it depends on how hard you've broke them off of it. But if they're coming back to you and then you're walking into a bear tree and loving on dogs, they're going to be okay with it. You know what I mean?
So you'd have to keep that 1 or 2 lion dogs off your bear race if you're.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's me. I all my dogs do everything. I don't keep certain dogs out. I don't do anything like that. But honestly, switching from a bear to a lion doesn't happen a whole lot. It's switching from a lion to a bear that happens.
Yeah.
Because, especially in the dirt, the lion's a lot more slower going. A bear stinks more. They could be cold trailing this lion. All of a sudden, a hot bear comes across it. They're going to turn and burn. That one smells better. We don't got to grind for this one,
Yeah, but they're just like we are.
Oh,
they're going to take the road less, that's easier to travel versus, that rough and rocky road if they can.
Yep.
This is where it'd be nice to have good friends, because when bear season ends, you send them up to Idaho or Utah, that pack of dogs, to keep going while you keep your lion dogs down here.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, or you have guys that hunt dogs for people that do it. Like say, I've hunted dogs for people in the past and still do it a little bit today.
Does armadillo climb trees there, Jeremy?
I wouldn't know. You'd have to ask Jared Fay.
He's the one that talked shit to you about it.
I know. I saw it.
He just didn't tell anybody that was his dog.
Hey, that's his dog running armadillos, not mine.
Yeah. So,
I got her good the other night, so I think she may be learning.
Hey, you just gotta wait till he's out of town and take his dogs with 2 or 3 shot collars on it and show him what not to run.
I'm gonna catch a pack of armadillos and put in a pen with her. Give her something to do
every time they touch them. Here's another discussion. Access. You could take a mule anywhere you want.
Yeah, you can go over the mountain instead of having to go around.
Mm-hmm. But there's also, like you were talking earlier, Dustin, places a machine can get you faster.
Unless you're Casey Fair, and then he'd rather walk.
Yeah.
Than ride a mule.
It just depends. Like the right country can be right for certain things. Where I've been hunting lately, there's a few areas you can take a mule into and probably be productive, but there's enough roads. I'm going to be more productive than doing what I'm doing. But then you have the other area where I hunt is over here, and there's only a couple roads. Once I cut those couple roads, I have to park and and that's mule country. And I'm learning it still on foot, but that's definitely a better area to go run a mule in than a side by side or a truck. So it's all on where you hunt that makes a difference.
Well, if you want to go hunt where no one else hunts, you hit those wilderness areas where you can only walk in or have a mule or horse.
Yep.
And there's a lot of wilderness areas out there, and nobody hunts them.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking. Where I'm talking, there's 2 wilderness areas. So that when I very first got my dog back in almost a year ago, back in August, when I caught that very first bear, that was wilderness. I started him right on the edge of wilderness, and I was walking in the wilderness. No one was in there.
Is that Jeremy? Can you hear that too? I thought it was just
he's breaking up. Yeah, he's breaking up pretty bad.
I am.
Yeah,
you were.
It sound like R2D2 or something.
I'll go out and come back in.
No, you're good now.
Yeah, it just comes.
I thought it was just my internet.
Might be mine too.
If I lived out there where y'all are, I would definitely have some sort of 4-legged animal to ride.
It's definitely nice.
Here, for the 2 months that I have a place to ride it, trying to keep my dogs lined up with the buggy is, at the task at hand. Roading them to where we're going to hunt is enough problems without having to try to, keep them corralled till we get there on a horse. So,
yeah,
I could ride the place I hunt during the summer, but, be a nightmare because it's just the opposite at Manzanita. It's all up high, horse level, so it's going to be trying to knock you off the whole time.
Yeah, there is some bad spots, a lot of deadfalls. Our mountains are so choked out with brush and deadfall that horses and mules become a burden.
That makes a difference.
Well, at Manzanita,
you have to know where you're going to hunt.
Where those burns are out there at Casey's, at Manzanita thickets, I don't know if you could ride a horse through some of that.
I hunt down in Globe, and there's some spots you can't get through, and it's not high. It's only 3 feet high. But it's hard to get through, and it's brittle. It's just
Casey and Robert and I went through some, just trying to get up to the top of the mountain to the road, probably 100 yards, 150 yards maybe, before we got into easier walking. And I'm gonna tell you, it's pretty tough stuff to walk through because it don't give. You can't push through it.
Manzanita's a pain in the butt. And, California, they got 8-10 foot Manzanita back there.
Well, see, we got some stuff here that's called, I don't know what it's really called. We call it saltwater bushes, and they kind of look like mesquite trees without thorns. And, they're a pain in the butt to try to navigate. If you can get on a hog trail, you're doing all right. But other than that, you're going to be crawling or climbing over the top of it.
Well, I was just watching Bear Grease YouTube, and Bear Newcomb tied his mule up and lost it. It went off on him. So I seen how he ties his mules, and if you got a smart mule, they'll untie it. But so you just have to tie them mules. See, I ride with the halter. The only one I have. These new mules I have to ride with bits, but all my old horses and everything I used to ride was just halter. But I always wear a halter with my headset anyway, so I can tie them up because they'll bust them reins faster than you can shake a stick at. And I don't use leather reins. I make reins out of that mule tape. But
yeah, they're a little tougher than leather reins.
In Texas, running walkers, go watch some of our old stuff.
Yeah, we're actually staying on topic.
I'm trying. I've tried my hardest, and we still go down rabbit holes, which is cool. But I listen to some of these other podcasts, and I'm going to be honest with all you guys, especially you back east. I am just not into I'm not into the competition talk of coon hunting. It doesn't excite me. and I didn't grow up in it. I grew up trying to catch lions is what I tried to do. That was my first thing, trying to catch is lions. So I just made it hard on myself. And then my second go around after my divorce and I got dogs again, I started running coons, so that was a little bit, I was just going down to the creek. And let me tell you something about coon hunting is if you like to stay up all night, coon hunting's good for you. You know what I mean? But when you get a little older, I don't mind getting up early. But, man, we'd go out at 10 o'clock at night and stay out till 2 in the morning, and I'd get up at 5 and go to, I don't mind coon hunting. It's good for you. I found out old coon, 15 years old, I take down the creek.
I found out how to get coons in Arizona.
What?
You send coon lights to folks. I sent Casey a coon light because I saw a need for it. And there's coons just showing up left and right.
Yeah. He probably has more coons around him than he even realizes.
I've never tried to even turn my dogs loose out there at night. I brought my lights every time at any of y'all's places.
Yeah. No, my buddy caught a coon out in the middle of nowhere, middle of the forest, and I've come across roads over there by a mountain, and my dogs kept treeing on this tree. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Well, I caught this coon track on the road, walked a mile on the road and turned right into that. And they trailed that sucker to that tree. And what it was a coon den is what it was. And this big old dead hollow tree. That's how I figured out that coon would mess me up a lot. Because I'd be out trying to catch bear and they'd open up and take off. And I'm like, oh, we got a bear. And then they'd just end
they're
up
essentially the same critter.
One just wherever it felt like.
One's got a longer tail and the other one's a lot bigger. Because coons and bears compete for the same, foods.
Yep. And I've just trained all my dogs and coons. I think Dustin's having some technical difficulties. My internet's kind of glitching too. But as far as building a podcast, I think we just kind of go off topic sometimes. And I think it kind of breaks up the monotony of just talking dog. So recently I've been I'm not going to lie, I'm a chat GPT whore. And I try to go through and find out some good topics to talk about. And then I print out my little thing that says, what you can talk about. Because if I don't try to keep it on, we get all over the place. We used to talk for 3 hours about nothing.
Yeah.
But people still listen.
Yeah.
Well, last week someone made a comment about going off topic, and Cody King straight pushed us off the hill. I mean, we rabbit holed, Oh, you're right. Raccoon will go a long ways. My buddy trailed one for 3 miles in the middle of nowhere. Oh, yeah. You remember the camel? Remember the camel talk? Derek. Bad enough. I don't offend nobody, but bad enough he's talking about Lycas, and then he wanted to go hunt Lycas off a camel in Arizona.
Well, heck, that saddle he rode or says he rides in.
The English saddle?
Yeah.
Probably
It's an Australian saddle.
Oh, yeah, Australian saddle. Phone got too hot and wasn't working. Yeah, that's the bad thing about them phones. You said he'll eat camels, but only the toe. Oh, that was who was that? That was Anderson. Wasn't that Anderson that said that?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I've tried to block a lot of that out.
Yeah, no, we do get off topic, but I've been trying to stay on topic. Man called me today to give me a Leica dog. Well, you never know.
To each his own.
So now
I can't say nothing. I've got one pointy-eared dog. He ain't no long-haired one. He's a bad little old dude too.
Yeah. I mean, but now we can go into the whole cost comparison, you know. It does feed bills versus fuel bills, you know, but like you got insurance, you got tires. If you have one mule, let's say you have one mule, just one mule, you're going to feed it. You're not going to feed it a bell a day like I feed 9.
No,
you know,
no.
You're gonna.
I think they're really the only time, one outweighs the others if you have a vet bill.
I think so, because what is your insurance? Like in Arizona, you have to have insurance on it now to be out in the woods, and you have to take this class, and you have to have it registered. So I don't know what insurance. My motorcycle insurance is $40 a month, full coverage. I don't know what.
I pay insurance on mine, but that's just in case it tear it up or get stolen.
Yeah.
Or something. But because they do cost that much.
So $8,600 for an unbroke mule. You can find mules all the time for free or cheap or whatever. So what?
That's
not true.
It will run you over. Just park on one of them little steep hills.
I was gonna
say that the emergency brake don't work. It will kick you.
And this goes into the question of what a mule's worth, right?
There's a guy that lives right up. I mean, he's 40 miles from me.
Mm-hmm.
He raises mules for a weanling. It's $7,000. They're not gated.
Listen,
I don't know nothing special.
Yeah, I don't know how different it'd be if everybody was hunting off mules that wasn't just a trail rider, right? So but the bad thing about these days is a trend costs money. And here's a good example. When the movie 101 Dalmatians came out, everybody had to have a Dalmatian, right? The bad thing is with a Dalmatian, they're kind of aggressive. So everybody
very protective.
Everybody got these Dalmatians, and everybody got rid of these Dalmatians because they figured out. Same with the movie Hidalgo. You remember the movie Hidalgo?
Everybody bought a paint horse.
Everybody wanted a paint horse. It didn't matter if it was a $500 piece of crap 3-legged paint horse. And then in 6 months to a year, everybody's selling them. Now, we got into the topic, and everybody got mad about, is a mule worth $100,000? To me, no. To that guy who bought it, yes. Why'd he buy it? For his wife, for his mistress? I don't know. I just paid $5,000 for 4 mules. And all the.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Let me ask your opinion on this. Now, I'm going to pick on Brent, Clay Newcomb, and Mountain Built, and all these mule channels on YouTube. I believe that is where the popularity is coming in, and it's making them more and more and more, I guess, appealing. And I think that's what's driving the cost of them up.
Oh, Bronx and Donk started all that shit, right?
Yeah.
They have their cool mules. They're sliding off the hills. They're, and I've talked to some mule people that said, you just don't want to do that. Yeah, they can do that. But do you really want to do that?
No, you're going to hurt down.
Do you want to slide down that mountain? Can you do it? Yeah. When you're 20, you heal faster. When you're 40, you'll still try it. But when you're 50, 60, you're going to break a bone, and if you come off that wrong, whether you're on a mule or horse, and you break a bone, it wasn't that cool all of a sudden. And then this right here, this is no lie. I would buy a real Mexican broke horse or mule any day of the week, because I've never seen a bad one. Them guys are no joke. I'm not saying they're the nicest either, but I tell you what, if I knew that horse or mule came from a Mexico ranch and the Mexican broke it, I would take it. But you can find mules just because
out west you can.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Probably
around here you're gonna get one that's gonna kill you. If it's free.
If you want a mule, look for a mule. Don't kind of look for one. Don't every once in a while look for one.
And
Stay
don't
on
do
Facebook.
what Jared Fisher said in the comments. Go to the sale barn.
Listen, you can go to the sale barn, but be ready to sell that mule the next week if it don't work out. Because I'm gonna tell you, me and my dad spent $10,000 a week at the sale barns. I bought my horse that I had for 22 years, Ike, for $600 because he came off a racetrack, flipped under a horse trailer, cut his back knee. He had big scars on his knees, and that's the only reason they got rid of him. And that horse went with me 22 years and would do whatever I want. Now
you go to those big sales like, horses, hounds,
Canyon,
mules.
okay, so you got the chrome in the canyon or whatever that is. And you got
you
the
go
horse.
to those, you're going to get a little bit better mule.
But you go to the horse, hounds, and mule sale. And here's my plug for these guys. I've seen some Amish mules, and buying an Amish mule, in my opinion, is the same as buying a Mexican broke horse. Those guys are no joke. I think those mules stay in their bedroom with them. I think they have to, and you can pick one up. You got to remember, if you pick up a young mule, let's just say you pick up a 10-year-old mule, you got 20 more years on it. And if you pay $20,000 for that mule, that's $1,000 a year. But you can find mules definitely cheap. And you're right. Dustin's right. They follow the trends, and the trends will hike the price. But that mule that they paid 15 grand for, they take it home and they figure out they have to feed it, and they figure out they have to shoe it. And shoeing's not $50 no more. If I pay I got a guy that's cheap. He
about
comes
160.
He comes in trims for $60 a month or $60 a set, and he'll it's 120 for shoes or 90 for 2 on the front. Now you typically only put 2 on the front. When I'm broke, I have to shoe my own shit, and it hurts my back. And it takes me 3 days to shoe one, when it takes him 1 day to shoot all 9 of them or cut them up.
Dang, Chris, poor damn horses and mules you got.
Oh
Get
man,
one shoe a week.
I go out, trim one for a couple hours, go trim the other foot, and it's really not that hard to do.
I can see you out there with a grinder.
Hey man, if they made something you could clip on there and set it, and it just and it stops, I'm good to go. My biggest thing with shoeing anything is I'm afraid to cut too deep in the quick. And if you don't know what the quick is, it's the pad of the foot. I don't even know how to explain it. You get too deep, it'll bleed. And I had my old Navajo res horse, and her quick wasn't that deep at all. And she grew real slow on the outside. So sometimes I'd have to let her grow out and cut them in. I know how to put a shoe on, but I also know how to rebuild an engine, but don't mean I'm going to rebuild for NASCAR. And it don't mean I'm not going to throw a shoe. I was taught by an Indian dude, and he was pretty raunchy on shoeing, and that's why I got this scar right here. There's a scar right there. That's because that I hammered through, went to bend my nail to twist it off, and that damn sucker jerked on me and ripped through my thumb. You have to have a good back for shoeing. You have to have a good eye. And man, I've seen some horrible shoes and never lame a horse. Some of those were mine. You know what I mean? But it is good to know.
Poor people
it's good to know.
Yeah.
Because when you're out there, and Casey or Kyle showed him how to shoe right now. Like he said, he just shoed one today. And I'm going to tell you, that knowledge is really resourceful. Would I do it for a living? No. But back to the subject.
do it to get me out of a bind.
Yes.
But if you don't know what you're doing, it's best to pay the man.
If you don't know what you're doing, you can send that nail right through the quick or right into the shoe, not come out like it's supposed to. You could lame a horse, to get into the mule side can be just as expensive as a side-by-side tack truck. Well, that's a fact too. If you're going to go out and buy a brand new side-by-side, right? You're going to have a trailer.
Cost is about the same. I mean, either way, I agree.
All together, in the end, you're going to spend $30,000 to $40,000 on any one of them, because to feed one mule, let's just say a bale a week. Let's just say a bale a week. And let's say you're buying it at the feed store for $20. It's up to 25. I pay anywhere from $13 to $15 a bale, but I buy squeezes at a time or truckloads. And so figure right there, $20. Let's just say it's $20 a week, and you got one mule. So you're looking at times 20 is $1,040. $1,000 a year to feed your mule. That's just with just some hay or Bermuda or alfalfa. And you're not really supposed to feed them too much of the alfalfa because of the kidneys. And then you got shoeing. So let's just say you're going to be $1,200 in feed a year. And then you got your shoeing. Let's say every 2 months. Some of them go 3 months. Some of them don't need, they just need trimmed. You got good feed on a mule or horse. I went a long time. I won't trim my mule. I'll put front shoes on them if I'm riding in the rocks when I know I'm going. So let's just say a typical is, let's say $90. Let's just say a trim, $90 average. And then you got every 3 months, so times 4, 360. So you're up to $1,500 right now. Okay. And then you got to buy a saddle. And you can look around and get a $300 saddle. So there's, just to get your mule. And let's say you buy a $5,000 mule, that's kind of cheap, and let's say you buy a $5,000 side by side, you got to put tires on it. And those have to be what, $200, $300, $400 a set right now, depending on what you buy. You can buy some cheapies.
It's about $400 a set.
Mm-hmm. So I think you're right. I think in the long run, and if you go broke, you can drop the insurance and you park that side by side and it can sit there for a year. As a mule, you have to keep feeding it and you have to keep trimming it.
Well, out here we have actual grass, so they can feed.
Well, that's another thing. If you have a good pasture, which Arizona, you don't get in a lot of rain. I had a friend call me and say, "Hey, I want to get in the cattle business. My buddy has 40 acres." I said, "Are you planning on putting those cattle on 40 acres where you are?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "It's not going to work. You have to feed those cattle because you don't get enough rain up there." Now, if you lived in Oregon, Washington, I know a guy up there that had 40 acres and had 80 cows on it. That grass was 8 foot high 10 seconds after they ate it. It didn't matter. They got enough moisture and rain. But if you can shoe horses and cut firewood, you will never go hungry. That's fact. And honestly, you just have to trim a horse. Depends on the area you're in. If you're riding in a real rocky area, and I used to lease my state land behind me, and it's full of malapai. And I never had to trim my horses. They were naturally wore down. Beautiful. Very beautiful. And I could go ride them anywhere because they were tough. Hey, if you have hella grass and hay, by all means, if you could cut that feed bill down, and that's one of the number one expenses is a feed bill. I don't typically go to vet. I took a horse to a vet one time. That's the horse I had for 22 years. He cut his lip on a bathtub I had out there for feed. And I tried, so there's a big cut right here. I burned it and it kept bleeding. And I tried to stitch it and he ripped them. So I ended up just taking the vet. It only cost me $150. I kind of knew he lidocained them. He stitched them up. He healed enough that he ripped them out again and it was okay. But he also got a stick in his knee one day. I came home, fed at night, and I seen it. Grabbed a pair of channel locks. When I grabbed onto him, he yanked his foot back, and that sucker was in his knee 4 inches. And I just gave him some penicillin and cleaned it up. I didn't take him to the vet. But I rough feed my horses. You guys can all be all pouty about it. There's no schedule. Sometimes they don't eat at night. Sometimes they don't eat in the morning, but they eat enough that day. Their percentage 20% per their weight a day. And I've not lost, knock on wood, I've never lost a horse to colic. The only horse I lost to colic was a paint horse I bought at the auction that came out of the front window of a 2-horse trailer because she was weird and crazy. And then I wormed her. And when I cut her open after she died, she was so impacted with alfalfa and all the shit, there was wormholes in it. So when I wormed her, they clogged up. That's what I got. I'm not no vet, but I think that's what I got of it. I think a lot of people are too scared to doctor their own animals anymore. That's why the vets are expensive anymore, because somebody's dog gets a scratch. You are right.
The only time mine go to the vet is if it's something I can't handle.
When their guts are trailing behind them 3 feet, yeah, I'm the same way. And I had a dog break a leg up in the hip. There was a healer jumped out of the window. I took it to the vet, and they said, "Listen, $900 or let it heal." We let it heal, and that dog was fine. So that's a rabbit hole. We went down a big rabbit hole, but you're right. It is. People are scared, and you don't have. I had a vet that would give me a bottle of Rompum. Yeah, it's a horse tranquilizer or whatever, but half a cc in a dog vein, they'll knock them out. And they used to charge $180, $200 to pull porcupine quills too. So if you don't know how to do that stuff, and I have a vet friend I can call and say, "What do I do?" And she'll kind of let me know what I should do. And if I can handle it, I'll handle it. If not, it has to be a pretty good dog for me to take it to the vet. I love my dogs, but I love feeding my kids more. That's all I'll say about that.
The only reason why mine go once a year is get their rabies vaccination, so when I bring them out there, I'm covered.
You know what?
Because I got to go through Texas.
Man, I need a lot of wood. Knock on wood again. I've never done rabies shots on my dogs. The worst I've had happen to a dog, it got strep A in its leg. And I think it got in a coyote fight. And it had a little tiny sore on it. And Cody Lynn, I was out of town. She called and said, "Hey, what do I do?" And I said, "Well, put some pheromone stuff on it." We had Furazone or whatever it's called. And she did. Next day is this big. And I'm like, "Dang, did you put?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, put a little more on it. Let's see what it does." Next day, the whole skin on his leg was falling off. And I called my vet friend, and she's like, "Listen, there's probably nothing we can do about it." And he was an old dog. We had to put him down. And that dog I got a tattoo of that I hated his guts, but gosh dang, he was a working dog, So, but I love my mules. I love my horses. There's nothing better than following dogs, whether you're hunting or not hunting, just getting out in the woods. I mean, it's archaic. Richard, those 4 mules I bought were Chuck Hall's mules and all his tack. And let me tell you a little story about Chuck Hall's mules. I did have to put one down, and that was his mule. And I was supposed to spread his ashes with her too, and no one ever called me. And this was back in March. I did have to put her down. She was just an old mule. I bet you she's 30 plus. And I'm going to tell you about the lady who had these mules, spoiled those mules, and they got into a bad routine. And they started acting stupid. And I'm going to tell you, I'll just say that I Chuck hauled him, and he's a little rough, and that mule came right out of it. And I stuck my 12-year-old back on that mule, and I said, "Ride that mule now." And that mule did perfect. So that mule was raised with a set of reins, is what I'll say. When I put a set of reins to her one time, that was it. But yeah, I don't know Chuck Hall personally, but I did end up with all his stuff. And I'm very, very fortunate to get it for what I paid. I have one older mule from him that little limpy, and my kids will ride it around the yard, or they'll ride it out a little bit, a couple miles and back, and that's it. But I didn't know Chuck Hall personally, but the lady did. That helps you. But I think you're right. The expenses is going to be the same in the long run. If you took a mule and bought it in 2026, and in 2036, you took those expenses off that mule and took those expenses off that side by side where you had to replace the belt or the motor, or the tires, and if you're riding it as much as a mule or going out a lot, you're replacing those tires every year.
And for the most part, the horse or the mule is going to outlast the side by side.
Yeah.
Because within 5 years, you're going to have to replace that side by side, unless you're Casey and you do it every 2.
The ranch does it every 2. So,
but have to. That's some rough ass country.
I mean, when you're riding on a side by side, I don't think there's no therapeutic values. There's a little bit. When you're out in the woods, when you're out in the woods, but when you get on a mule and you're crossing country and it's a beautiful day or the sunset or sunrise.
Oh, you're being romantic now.
Hey, every once in a while, I got a little romantic spot in me.
Yeah, 9 times.
Very, very fine. So now, out of the so here's another
7 times.
Here's the perspective of a hound. Do dogs hunt differently when hunters are on mules? Do they hunt better if you're on a mule with them, or do they hunt better when you let them go and you're sitting in that, waiting for them to tree?
I think they're going to hunt different. Each way you hunt them. I think they're going to hunt similar on foot and on a mule. But
just got to split the difference. Get a geo tracker.
Then you know you got mental issues.
With the geo tracker?
Yeah, it's like a Jeep. Damn money.
You need some therapeutic work right now.
That a geo tracker or a Jeep's gonna cost you more than a side by side or a mule or horse.
Well, parts. I'm lucky. I have a 1980 Toyota. I traded a squeeze chute for. I built the flatbed and the dog box out of scrap. Let me see. If I'm driving road instead of riding, I'm mad and bored if I don't have a track by 10.
Well, that's all the time with Jared, isn't it?
Well, unless you're finding the tracks for him.
Oh, he gets real excited when you say, "Hey, I've got this big Tom track in the road right here where you told me to camp."
Oh, next morning, that was crazy. I really thought we would pick that up down that canyon where it dropped. I really did.
I did it with him too.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped to see if I could even get my trailer and truck in that little spot where y'all would camp.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big Tom track right in the middle of the road. It took about 2 hours to send to him. He's like, "Oh shit, where's that?" I'm like, "Right here at camp." He's like, "No way." I said, "Yeah." And finally it sent. And he said, "We'll be that way in the morning."
You know what's funny is everybody I hunt bears with, undercover, my dad, that bear I caught with Jared last year. My dad, I had his dogs, and I heard dogs barking, and I had him on my. I said, "Dude, that's my dad's dogs coming right at us." My dad comes hauling up, and he says, "They're chasing a bear," and I'm all, "How do you know it's a bear?" He goes, "We seen it." I'm all, "How does everybody see a bear? I never see a bear. I have to blind find a bear." So we caught that bear, and then same day after we caught that bear, not a few hours later, I get a text from Jared says, "I'm on a bear." And I said, "How do you know?" "I seen it." So I said, well, me and my one son, we ran over there and we met him. I said, "How you know the bear?" Because he was standing there. I'm like, son of a gun. I never get to see a bear. I never see a bear just standing there and I can chase it. And so lucky.
Yeah. You're looking for squirrels.
I know. Oh man, Stinker's a squirrel. I'm doing the squirrel camp this year.
She's a distraction.
You know what? This is what she did last year. The dog took a track and took off. And she went with them. And then she turned around and came back with her stupid, she don't have a squeaky voice no more. She turned back with her little, and she's going another way. And I'm all, what is she doing? And those dogs turned. They ran it backwards. And she figured it out and went the other way. And those dogs finally turned around and caught up to her. And it was a bear.
Well, she's stupid smart. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
a dog that knows how to roll down the window and to get out.
Does. God, piss! I have to lock my windows. I have to roll them down this much, lock them, so she can't jump out. Because she'll jump out after squirrel. You've seen that. 35 miles an hour.
She'll roll down the window and jump out whenever you're just sitting there too.
Oh, she don't do that so much no more. She got in big trouble for it. We was elk hunting, and I took her with me, and we were on elk, and she jumped out. So, but where were we at?
That stinking pup I got in Casey's smart like that. She knows how to unlock the gate. Of course, I've got a lock on it, a hasp.
Yeah.
I'll come out there and it'll be flat when I leave, and in the morning or in the evening when I come open it, it's like this. And I caught her at it. I turned my back and she was trying to open it the other day. And I was like, mm-hmm.
My dad had a horse. I think his name was Weena, way back when I was 3 years old stuff. And it would open the gate. So they put a combination lock on this gate. And that horse would turn that and turn that and turn that and turn that and turn that until it came unlocked. Just whether it felt it in its teeth, I don't know how it did it, but it would unlock that gate. Drove them crazy. So they had to put a key lock on it. So do you think the slower travel does it help the handlers make better decisions rather than just roding? And
I think so, because you get to see what the dogs are doing. You learn what the dogs are doing. You learn the game better. So, when you do see let's say the dogs get away from you where you can't get to them to where you can watch them, you can see what they're doing, and you've experienced it yourself by watching them. I mean, it makes you a better handler all the way around. I don't think anybody that's on this comment section, if they've been around a dog for 5 minutes, I think they'd all agree. Spending time with that dog while it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, you learn from that. You learn from the game they're chasing.
Yep. Now, it's the same with mules. If you don't have a relationship with your mules, it's going to be a miserable time. If you get a bad mule, they say there's good mules and bad mules, nothing in between. So if you don't get a good mule, if you don't spend that little extra money, let's just say you spend 10 grand on a young 8-year-old mule, you're going to get your 10 grand. Like you said, you're going to get that 10 grand is going to last longer with that mule. If it's a good mule, then you don't roll off a cliff, but same with the side-by-side.
Or health problems with the, colic or whatever.
You never know. And like I said, knock on wood, I've never had the colic problem, but I'm a dirty feeder. I mean, my I course, I had 22 years, got out. He was an escape artist. I had a 55-gallon barrel full of molded grain, and that son of a bitch ate half of that and didn't miss a step, didn't sweat. Next day, woke up, he's still alive. 2 days later, that son of a bitch got out again and ate the other half of that, and he lived. He was my hate-love relationship horse. That son bitch would hit me on top of my head with his head, and I would turn around and punch that horse like punching a dude. That's just how we were. We left camp one time and just had him loose in our area, and I came back and a raccoon had tore through the camp, ate all the butterscotches. I had butterscotch candies, and pulled them out of the wrapper. And I was cleaning up the mess, and I look over and I hear crunching. And I look at my horse, and he's eating that butterscotch, and he spits the wrappers out. And he drank all my Mountain Dews, that son of a bitch, too. He would take a Mountain Dew and pop it in his mouth. Yeah. If you don't have, for the price of a side-by-side, they sure are not durable. I mean, you're right. I think we treat them like they're indestructible, though, right? And
they are if you know how to fix them. You got deep pockets,
right? But if you
they're
don't
money
spend,
pits. I mean,
how much do they charge? Well, how much do they charge to put a belt in? When the belt goes out on one of those, $200, $300, maybe more. I don't know.
Just depends. About 150.
But you can leave town for the weekend and not have to feed your animal, your horse. That's the hardest part. I mean, that's of my
no
life.
Difference if you're running dogs. You got to have somebody to feed and tend to them while you're gone. So, it's no different. If adding just a little more to the feed bill and having somebody to tend to them, you're still tied down.
To find somebody though, you're right. Like I said, if you don't have the money to feed that side by side, you can let it set. You have to feed them.
The difference between that horse and that dog, that horse, you put him in a pasture, as long as it's got water, it'd be good over weekend.
Man, if that rancher would let me, and he probably would if I talked to him. If I left town for a week, I could ask him, can I turn because he has nothing in it right now. And I got water. I put a float on the tank out there. I water his cattle for him sometimes. But if he'd let him go for a weekend, that would help me out tremendously. He probably would. It'd be worth giving $100 for a weekend, Yeah. That's all I got to do to get them mules back is throw some feed out and they'll be back. So, moral of the story, to wrap it up, I think it's a steady. I think if you have $20,000 to waste, you can go buy a mule and feed it for the next 10 years, or you can go buy a side-by-side and replace it in the next 2 years. Same. I think it's the same amount of farms that you start.
The moral to the story, Chris, is don't get into hounds, don't buy side-by-sides, and don't buy horses and mules. Is that what we figured out?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. If you're smart. That guy who wants to mentor said he had 4 puppies, 2 puppies now.
And if you buy a puppy, you're extremely on the slower end of the gene pool.
Mm-hmm. And those round bells are great. The grass ones, because they can eat. They won't you can eat. They won't hurt them at all. You find a good grass bell, you can definitely throw it out there. That's what I just told my other son. I need to go get a bunch and get them off that alfalfa, kind of in the hot off season. But I think I ride my mules more in the summer, like just exercising and getting them out. Because it's nice to take a mule out without having to watch dogs too. Sometimes, even though I don't usually not take dogs, I'm a coyote hunter in the summer.
Yeah. Well, that's like right now. It's sporadic when we get to go because it's raining so dadgum much. I'm made of sugar and I might melt, so.
Brag.
I don't go. Well, I mean, it's just no different than out there, when it's 200 degrees, y'all don't hunt,
No, when it rains, we hunt.
Yeah.
We definitely try to get out and hunt.
But, I mean, like here, after a rain, I'm gonna have more junk races than a little bit. I'm better off staying at the house than teaching bad habits.
Yeah.
Yep.
If
it rained that morning, it's a little different. It rained that afternoon, I'm gonna have awesome trees and armadillo races.
So here's the conclusion question, a couple of them. What would the old timers think about the technology today? They'd probably love it. Well, I've already heard it. You already heard the guy say that shot callers improve training. You could train 4 dogs to the time you train 1.
Well, that's like, I kind of grew up in the era where you didn't have nothing. You just turned the dog loose and went to them. And my grandfather was kind of the first person I ever knew with a tracking system, the old beat tracking system. And he had the big box that went around his neck and, the 57-inch Yagi antenna. And he'd stand on top of the truck just to get signal, a little extra. And we all thought that was, the bee's knees. And, he didn't live to see the Garmin's. Now he did, he loved his trash breaker. That was on his side all the time.
Those were my heroes. I when I got started in 2005 again, I didn't have nothing. No beep. I had nothing. I mean, and then I bought me a set of those, trash breakers up to 2 miles away. And that's how I located my dogs, unfortunately, if I had to.
Tell you a little funny story. My grandpa, it was my grandfather, his buddy, my cousin, and me. And we're hunting the edge of the cornfield and some flooded timber. And the dogs stayed in that flooded timber all night. When I say flooded timber, I'm talking about waist deep on them. And my grandpa had a bad habit of not looking at his compass. And we passed the same log like 5 times before I ever got the nerve to ask him. I was like, you know where we're at? He's like, yeah. I said, where are we? He said, in the woods, in the water. Okay. So after, about an hour of this, we all sat down, trying to pour some of the water out of our boots. Me and my cousin, we're like, we're dead. And he's up on a log and he's lifting his leg up and dumping the water out of his boots. One of those dogs goes to screaming. And it's right over by us. So we're thinking snake. So we just shoot up 2 trees right there. He's over rolling around in the water laughing at us because he's done rolled over on that trash breaker, shocked that dog. He said, I thought you boys were tired. I said, yeah, it didn't look like y'all was too tired climbing them trees.
I had a dog in the back of my truck do the same thing, just go crazy. I thought it got its ear stuck in the dog box somewhere. And then I realized that my 2-year-olds were up front with my trash breakers, pushing buttons. Gosh, dang it. But, well, if any of you guys have any suggestions for a show you want us to talk about for at least a little bit before we rabbit hole, send them to me, azwda@outlook.com. Or if you want to be a guest on the show, we'll put you on, but you have to sign a waiver, a feelings waiver. If you hurt your feelings, you can't come after us. Even Wayne.
I think Wayne's got tough skin.
Yeah, we'll see how tough it is when he gets here. So, other than that, the Hound Rendezvous, we forget to bring that up throughout the whole thing. It's coming August 21st, 22nd, Yeah,
21st through 23rd.
23rd. I got so many dates right now. And if you know anybody who wants to be a sponsor of that, get their name all over everything, let me know. I have different levels, gold, silver, bronze, whatever it is. We do have a real sponsor that sponsors the whole thing, which will probably be AWDA if no one puts in the money. It's a little higher dollars, $2,500, and it's your rendezvous, right? So you're sponsoring it. You guys want to become a member, and I did count today. I only have 40 or 50 members, maybe 60. I only have about under 50% of what we had last year. And I'll get a bunch next year, guys, because I heard that there is there's going to be a ballot initiative for lions in Arizona next year. And that's when everybody gets all crazy and decides they want to be involved. But you need to be involved now. And I got to
bring it up a little bit more.
I don't like to brag, but I got a little bit of clout behind me now because I got a advocate, wildlife conservation advocate of the year award. And so I'm going to use that to my advantage and try to get some sponsors. If you want to donate some stuff, if you make something, no matter what it is, we had a lot of stuff last year. Tree ties from a gal in New Mexico. The Whitakers threw some stuff in the raffle. I'm going to try to get Derek to build us a watch again for the raffle, an AWDA watch.
You stole the watch.
It's not my fault that guy went to bed. There was only that watch left, big prize. And that damn guy, it was, what was his name? Short name. I don't remember. Like a 3-letter name. Anyways, he was an older gentleman, like 70, 80 years old, and he went to bed. And
yeah, he was camped right next to us. I can't remember what his name was.
And I got the next ticket. One ticket. I bought a lot of tickets, hundreds of dollars tickets, and I got one draw. Thank God it was on that watch. So, yeah, I was happy to get it. That's all I won. I'm not like Robert Chase. I'm surprised he didn't win it. I'd have had to beat him up and steal it from him when he went to bed.
I tell you what, I'm happy with what I got. And I won that Ed Barnes book. It's got a lot of
That
Yeah.
is, you know, and he's not doing the Tuskers magazine no more.
Uh-uh.
I've tried to get him on. He's a rough cat. I want to get him on again. I like him though.
But he had lots of good information in that book. Doctrine information, you know.
I'll see if I can get another one from him. I'll try to get the Warner Glenn stuff. There's still some Warner Glenn. Someone said they won it at a raffle, but no one's came to me about it. And I have to do it a little different this year.
Well, that's because you left it in the truck and hid it for yourself just like you did the watch.
I don't know if I have it. Pretty sure I still have it. Because
I thought we did raffle it off after the rendezvous.
I thought we did, or someone grabbed it. But Kelly Glenn had a bunch of stuff, and no one came forward to tell me they had it because she has a bunch of stuff. So I'll try to get her just to send that this year, and I think we'll raffle that off. AZHHR.com. If you want to find out about it's the same place as last year. I'll get a map made up for it and drop some coordinates, but it's pretty simple to find. AZHHR.com. Yes, AZHHR.com. Now that kind of gives you some information. Or you go to AZWDA.com. So
it's a blast.
It's getting better too. And Cody King's coming this year, and he's coming full force. And the good thing about it, if you want to stay there all week, stay there all week. You know, bear and lion open up, archery deer opens up. I had my longbow last year. I was trying to Diane Fair ruined it for me, yelling at me.
That was the first one.
I was chasing
that was the first rendezvous because I was right there with her.
Side of the road, a deer ran across 3 of them, and I went to stalking them, and she come by yelling, "Get out of the road!" So, and then some archery hunter come out because he was chasing them, and it's a good time. And if you're out of state, it don't cost a whole lot. You're what is it, $450 for lion and bear plus license?
It's $160 for the license, $150 for the bear tag, $75 for the lion tag.
$100 for the lion.
$75.
I think it's $100 this year. It might be. It's not that much.
I just sent mine off.
3 tags.
I just sent mine off. Plus the, you know, if you do have a side by side, it costs you extra $30.
Mm-hmm. Oh, side by side?
Yep.
Because you have to. What do you
want? Non-resident has to have that sticker.
The OHV?
Yep.
And you have to take a class online.
In order to get the sticker, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think it's a one-time deal because I didn't have to take it this year.
Damn it. I wish Dustin was on. Buddy put out a notice about Garmin that the dealers can't fix them no more if it's a non-warranty. So if you have problems with your Garmin collars and stuff, you have to send it to Garmin, or it has to go through Garmin now, even if you send it to the dealer. We'll talk about that next week. Other than that, become a member of Arizona Working Dog Alliance. We have more out-of-staters than we have in-staters. The Hound Rendezvous, plan that. You got 2 months to plan it. And as usual, I wait till last minute, so I got 2 months to try to get stuff together. Casey and Diane are cooking, and it hadn't disappointed us yet. And you get to try the famous Chris Watson tacos and tamales.
They're excellent, and they're made out of 15-year-old.
I will bring for Cody King some fresh meat.
Chicken feet.
Cody King whined about the 2012 chicken, and I showed him how brittle the bones were, and he just couldn't handle it. Those Texas boys are pussies. Something. I don't know. But if you want to impress Cody King, bring some candy.
They're full of shit. That's why he wears them tall boots.
That's exactly what it is. You don't want to step in his own shit. I'll probably have some J. John's there. We set up some big tents. You can bring your bear meat and laxatives. Yum. Hey, no one died. I fed.
Rowdy tried to.
I fed that bear meat to everybody at the state capitol in Arizona, and I never got no complaints. I went through 70 tamales quick.
You had to, because Casey threatened to kill you if you brought any to camp.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. Other than that, I think we're good to go. Jeremy, thanks for jumping on as usual. My partner in crime, since Dustin's phone is on. Dustin needs to set him up a little podcast area, and he needs to get on so he can go to coldstrikegear.com. Another shameless plug, coldstrikegear.com, and join the, what is it? Hound Hunters Honey Hole, the Hound Honey Hole, Hound Hunters Honey Hole.
Yep.
It's been a pretty good one, man. I like it. I'm not on it as much as I want to be, but guys, go check it out. It's cheap to join. And because you have to pay to join, there's not a lot of dummies on it. I'm going to tell you that. So,
no ads. No
ads.
Junk.
Yeah. A lot of people are helpful. So,
it's all mentorship.
There's a lot of mentorship on there.
And
a lot of mentorship.
I'm still kind of mad. I hadn't even had any bites on selling your ass.
Well, nobody died, and Brett has to go to the Mayo Clinic.
He
Brett
did eat some of his elk tacos.
He ate my tacos 2 years prior.
Yeah. They don't kick in for a couple of years. You know, statute limitations went out.
Yeah, after you leave young Arizona, you're done. So, All right, guys. Well, everybody have a good night. Jeremy, thanks for showing up.
I appreciate you having me.
I will hopefully see you next week if you're not getting a call to go find people.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. Jeremy?
Adios.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, guys. There you go. There you have it. I hope we're getting better at not doing our rabbit holes, but like I've said before, keep your powder dry and stay safe out there.
Well,